Welcome to the MEND, a podcast and show for survivors and victims of crime, sponsored through the Center for Crime Victim Services. We are coming to you today from the Mad River Valley of Vermont. My name is Anna Nassett, and I will be the host for this bi-monthly podcast and show. The show was created with the idea that when a crime is committed, what are victims to do when the trial is over, or if there is no trial? What services are available to them, not only in our state of Vermont, but also across the country? We want to acknowledge the healing process and provide resources for people as they continue to support and find ways to mend through this process. I myself am a victim and survivor of crime, and my healing process and how I navigate through the world is an ongoing and ever-evolving process. I went for years from hiding deep in my shadows and wounds to standing up against crime, and now travel to speak and work with other victim service providers. I will share some of the services and resources that I have used as I have continued to mend myself, and also investigate all sorts of topics that I can share with you. Our hope with this show is that everyone who has been a victim of crime knows that they are not alone. I do want to begin this show with a trigger warning. Our goal is to create a safe place to discuss topics of healing and services. But with that in mind, we may occasionally hear a story related to crime, discuss our mental health, or have other sensitive matters that we discuss. We urge you to care for yourself and listen at your own discretion. Today, I am honored to have two women from APRISS, the developers of Vine. Vine is service and Vine is the service, and VineLink is the web page and portal app for a wonderful victim notification system. Today on the show, I have Karen Adams and Lacey Reiber from VineLink. As the training manager, Karen Adams is with APRISS Safety, the developers of Vine. Karen manages APRISS Safety's public safety training program and provides training on APRISS technology solutions such as Vine, the victim information notification every day, to victims, service providers, advocates, law enforcement, and criminal justice professionals. Her vast experience as a trainer, facilitator, and mediator complement her passion for helping others and assisting victims regarding resources and services. In addition to providing training on APRISS Safety Product Solution, Karen speaks regularly at national victim services and law enforcement conferences. Lacey Reiber is a custom service and technical support specialist for the last 4 years with APRISS Inc. Community outreach is something that she is very passionate about, and she serves on committees that allow her to connect her personal and professional life. Her personal journey with APRISS and Vine began long before her actual employment. Her father is a police officer, and her own personal experience with Vine has made it much easier for her to connect with victims of crime. I personally have used Vine for the last 7 years and can say that as a user, this system and how important it has been to keeping me up to date of the offender's status of being incarcerated, and also gives me peace of mind, which to every victim of crime is a huge gift and all too often missing in the process. I'm a huge fan of VineLink and thrilled to be working with them on some upcoming projects. But today, I'm going to turn to the experts who are visiting us via Skype from Kentucky, and they're going to share with us the history of VineLink and how it works. So thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks for inviting us. Yes, thank you.
I'd love to start this interview with you each saying who you are, and then I think Karen's going to respond to the question, sharing us a little bit about the history of Vine.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Karen Adams. Thank you, Anna, for having us on your podcast today.
Thank you.
I'm excited to share information with everyone regarding Vine. Let's start with, what does Vine stand for? Vine stands for Victim Information and Notification Every Day. And it's an honor to be able to share the history of Vine and why did Vine began in 1994. Vine, if I can go into some details with everyone, Vine is the response to, came about as the response to the murder of Mary Byron. This was the driving force behind the development of the Vine system. Mary's story is not unique. When Mary Byron ended her relationship with her ex-boyfriend, he began stalking Mary, and he assaulted Mary in the basement of her parents' home. Now, after learning of Mary's ex-boyfriend, of the fact that he raped her, her parents had him arrested by our local police department. And she began to move on with her life, and on her 21st birthday, she had finished up her workday at a local salon here in Louisville, and waiting in her car as it warmed up, unknowing to Mary, unknowing to her family, her assailant had been bailed out. He had been bailed out of jail, and he approached her car. He fired several shots into the driver's side, killing Mary. Mary's parents, and I'd like to take this opportunity to say their names are Pat and John Byron. They immediately began working with our local officials here, and what their hopes were, they wanted to derail this particular type of tragedy for other victims. 1 year later, the Vine service was developed. It was developed to reduce these incidents everywhere. And so today, victim information and notification every day. It is available, and it's a source of information, but it's also a source of notification, a notification delivery system. And Anna, I'm looking forward to talking more about Vine.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen. That's amazing what the Byrons did and how they just immediately turned to assisting and helping others. And they've saved millions of lives with the work that they've done, which is incredible. Karen and Lacey, can you share with me how VineLink works?
Absolutely. And as the Byrons and as different state representatives and individuals here with APRISS Safety, we are working every day to help spread that awareness and educate communities about Vine and why is Vine so important. How does VineLink work? Let's go directly to the source, that tool, that portal. VineLink is a public portal that's accessible to every single individual across the nation. VineLink stores information on offender custody status. VineLink is currently available in 48 states across the nation, and each state's Vine service operates off of either what we call our classic Vine platform or the enhanced Vine platform. Each of the platforms provide the opportunity for individuals to search for offender custody status. Individuals can voluntarily register to be notified on custody status updates. The VineLink service is successful when we talk about Vine because we operate off of booking records. And after that arrest, after that booking process occurs and that booking data has been entered by jail staff into their booking systems, now that information is loaded into Vine's platform. And that's when that education can start. That's when others can start searching for who's in custody where. That's when a victim can choose to register anonymously and get those up-to-date status notifications from a facility within those 48 states. And when we think about that same data being used and provided by more than 20,000 law enforcement officers as well accessing the information.
That's awesome. As I said, I've used Vine for the last 7.5 years. And I remember when I very first called up to sign up for that service, just being so terrified and scared that I even needed that service in my life. So Lacey, I would love for you to just kind of share a little bit about that. There's a good chance that you actually were the person I talked to 4 years ago when I had to re-sign up for that service. And it's so cool to have you here today to be able to put a face to that voice on the other end of the line that gave me such a peace of mind and calmed me down when I was so terrified. So can you tell me a little bit about the people that use Vine and how Vine helps people work through that process?
Sure. I'd be happy to explain to you a little bit about what we do here in our customer first center, what we call our call center. We're the front line essentially for Vine and what Vine does. And when most victims or people that are in the beginning of their victimization of their crime, they don't know who to turn to. They just want information and they don't know where to gather it. And so a lot of the police departments are giving out, we have documentation that the police departments have, that our marketing department has put so much effort into making sure that they have resources that are available on that flyer. And part of that resource is us here at the Vine Call Center. And so they call in, we're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, holidays, rain, snowstorms, it doesn't matter, we're here. And when they reach out to us, they want an answer. And because we are integrated into the booking systems at the facilities, we're able to give them real-time information. This person has been booked in. This person is being processed out. That real-time information is something that is crucial to them in their safety and in their safety plan. And that's something that we help them start. We're not the victim advocate, but we are the person that gives them the ability to advocate for themselves. And the way they know how to advocate for themselves is to know exactly where they are in that process. Am I at the point where I need to find shelter immediately? Is he already out? Am I at the point where I have time to get my stuff? Do I have time to gather my things and get to where I need to go? And I think that when we get people, we get them in all different stages of that. So we can be on the phone with somebody that is, I'm sure you've been there. I know I've been there myself. At the very beginning, you're just distraught. And sometimes you have to repeat the information because you're like, hold on, did you just tell me he's out? Or did you just tell me? And so you have to be that. You have to be that person that is like, okay, listen, you've got this. Here's the information. Let me help empower you, but you have to let me help you empower you, and here's how we're going to do it.
That's awesome. And that's such a huge gift to so many people. And just like as a person that you can do that is just incredible. So thank you for the work you're doing. Because we all know what it's like to have to make that call. It's terrifying. So it's great to know that we have voices on the other end that can not only hear us, but have such compassion around the situation. Can you, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I said we have an incredible team here.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Can you talk to me about the other services that Vine offers, such as protection order notification and court services?
Sure. So part of, I'm not sure of your whole story. I know some of it, but part of that process of going through it is getting that protective order. And you then have that fear come up again of, when is this person going to be served? How are they going to act when they get served? Am I going to be okay when they get served? And we allow you to register in the states that offer the Vine protective order, to register to receive a notification when that protective order is served. So not only do you know this person's now out of custody, but they know that they've been served. They know that you're on your journey to prosecuting and continuing this process against them to finish what you've started. And part of finishing what they started is knowing that they're safe and knowing that, hey, here we are, we're in stage 2.
Mm-hmm.
Here in stage 3, and then stage 3 then becomes the court notifications. And in the agencies that allow us to have those notifications, we send that information out. So if the court date changes, if the preliminary hearing turns into a plea deal or a plea hearing, and anything that changes that status, we're able to send that out in real time as well, just as well as the notification of their custody in the beginning. So we can follow them through all 3 stages of the arrest, to protecting themselves, and then the court process as it progresses.
That's awesome.
Being integrated into their system really allows us to hit all 3 key things that a victim is really going to need in their journey.
That's incredible and so important. I know that so many times when we're in that experience within that like legal system and everything else, like the victim, we just feel so powerless because everyone else is making decisions for us. So being able to have that little bit of just voice and control, I just think is amazing. It's really a gift that starts that healing place.
It does. And it's different than calling and talking to the jail, because the jail's sole purpose is to have that offender there. And they are a little more defensive than calling someone that's hey, here's the information. Let's get it together. Let's get on our journey here.
That's awesome. So we have a lot of victim service providers listening today, people in law enforcement, military sexual assault responders, victims advocates, Title IX coordinators, and more. Would you be able to talk to us about the other services that Vine provides for service providers, and how the work of Vine folds into these other groups?
Yes, yes. And I'd be happy to share with those listening today, because if they are in fact service providers, we want that group to know that with our enhanced Vine platform, what we're doing is bridging that gap between victims and service providers. When you think about fewer than 1 in 10 victims know where a resource is, how to locate that information, what our enhanced Vine platform is providing across the nation and approximately 13 states as of today, we're providing victims with a guide to a service provider in their own community. Service providers across the nation. We're going beyond the offender data, making that service provider hours of operation open, what services are provided, the languages, as well as the website, the address, the phone number. We found that victims do often search across state as well as national level directories, in order to view information and description of services. So we're publishing that approved information from approved service providers in our enhanced platform. We believe in that centralized location, making information readily available to those who need those details.
Awesome. Yeah, I know from my own experience that, I have to deal with different state lines and stuff like that, and being able to get information from my old home in Washington State and get that information here in Vermont is really just so imperative, that I think it's really great that you can be that broad and that far-reaching.
I agree, and one of the important features about VineLink is the ability to register an email address if I'm choosing as a victim, as a family member of a victim, a concerned friend, law enforcement, a service provider. Those who are listening to your podcast, I have that opportunity to register phone number, email address, text number, and with the ability to also receive those notifications on custody status within the VineLink app.
Awesome. Yeah, I know for myself, if there's any change in status, I receive a phone call and to go and punch my code in, and I get that information, and it's sometimes challenging if I get that information while I'm in the middle of waiting a table here at an inn in Vermont. But I'm so grateful that I get that information right at the moment when it's available. It's such it puts me at ease.
That's great. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that another thing that's really important about the states that have moved to the enhanced Vine is that all of that information is housed in one area, all of those resources that a victim is going to want, because it takes a lot of courage for them to even start to reach out. And if they have to go to 5 different places to get what they're looking for, they're more likely to give up. And I think that what APRISS has done in pulling all of that information together into one platform to bring all of the resources together into one area is huge. And the states that are taking advantage of it, I'm sure would agree that it's been pretty monumental for their victim services.
Absolutely. You're correct. You're correct, Lacey. And just know, Anna, that information is not static, because that information does and will change. As service providers, their facilities are increased and their knowledge of resources is added and enhanced. That information is updated.
Yeah. That's so great. Thank you. So you've got to explain some of us about how Vine works and the wonderful work you're doing. Can you both share with me what led you to working with Vine? What's really kept you working with them, and why you are so passionate about their services, and maybe what led you into this field?
Lacey, would you like to go first?
Sure, I could go first. That's fine. So, a little bit of my history. My introduction, as you said, Anna, my journey with Vine began long before my employment with Vine did. I was the victim of a random act of violence. I had broken down on the side of the road, and someone attempted to take my life. Someone that I thought was stopping to help me. And it's interesting because I hear people calling in and they're like, I don't know this person. I have no idea who it is. And you have to go through the motions with them. You have to go through, okay, I get it. I've been there. This is how you recover that information. This is how you get it. And when you do, call me back because Vine's going to help you out. We're going to let you know where this person is. We're going to let you know what's going on with this person. And in my journey, that was everything to me, knowing that I knew who this person was, because I didn't return to my home. I wasn't able to go back. I stayed at my mom's house. The guy had my purse. He knew where I was. He had my keys, and knowing that he was in jail. Now they've got him. Now they know who he is. Now I can go get my stuff and move. I can get out. And I think that knowing that I had someone there that was willing to bring me to the place of my own mental safety really drove me to be a part of that. I wanted to be that for someone else. So that's what brought me here. And the longer that I'm here and the people that I meet along this journey, I've had callers that have called in from literally the first day that I worked here until about 4 months ago. Her journey finally came to an end. And to be a part of her journey and be a part of her healing and a part of that process is incredible. There's nothing like knowing that you're part of someone regaining their strength. And it might sound kind of corny in a way to people that don't understand the process of what we do here. I'm just calling to get information. Well, you might be calling to get information, but you're calling to get information that's empowering, and to see someone regain their strength or regain that one tiny foothold. That's the reason I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, it's usually not the easiest way that leads us to this work. So thank you for sharing that vulnerability with us and turning around and doing incredible work with it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And Karen?
And all right, I'm going to kind of add similar to Lacey's information as far as her role, because what led me to working here at APRISS is my commitment to helping community and the opportunity to educate individuals about the Vine service. I started in a role very similar to Lacey, working with within our Customer First Center, responding to questions from victims and family members, from those individuals in the community who were helping victims through the resources for assistance in their community. And today, being with our marketing and training department, the ability to get that information out. When I think about this is the 25th year, the 25th anniversary of Vine. We want everyone to know that 2019 marks a significant milestone in the life of Vine. It's been 25 years since the Vine system debuted, since VineLink debuted in Louisville, that one county here in Louisville. And look at VineLink today. Vine's in 48 states, as we've mentioned, covering 3,000 communities and saving lives. Anna, we have blogs that we would love for our community to have access to. We have our Vine mailing list, upcoming webinars and on-site trainings. So we would love to just kind of guide individuals to our APRISS.com website.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be having all that information up as well on the podcast. I have Karen and Lacey here from APRISS Safety, the developers of Vine. And today, as we start to kind of wrap up this episode, is there anything else that you two would like to share that we haven't covered yet?
I would like to mention, I'm not sure if it was mentioned yet, but as huge of a resource as Vine is and as outreaching as it is anonymous. And to victims, that's a huge thing. We are a completely anonymous service. Reaching out to us is not going to in any way connect you to this offender. It's not in any way going to put you in a public light or let people know that you're in need. Like you said on it, it's almost a little bit embarrassing that you need the help to some people, and no one will know. There's no need to be embarrassed. There's no need to be fearful. That's why we're here to help you through that process. And in doing that process, we're going to keep your anonymity safe.
Yes. And I'll add to that, Lacey, yourself, myself, other team members. Anna, we want individuals to know that we're trained on victim sensitivity, and we're in our roles because of our commitment to assisting and helping others.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that what's so great is because it is anonymous. I mean, if you are a family member of a victim of crime, as you said, Karen, or a friend of a victim of crime, you can also use this service. And I think that's really important to allowing family to have safety and healing and peace of mind as well for their loved ones. So Karen and Lacey, it has been such an honor to have you two here today. I am continuously inspired by the work of APRISS Safety, the developers of Vine. I know that I personally would not be sitting here today if it wasn't for the work that you do. As a victim and survivor of crime, these services like VineLink I can turn to have been imperative to not just me feeling safe as I walk through this world, but also just to starting to have that foothold and to be able to move forward with my life. So it's really an honor to get to see two faces that have meant so much to me. As we start to close, I like to close each show with a positive message. If you could share one word with survivors and victims of crime or one small sentence, what would it be?
I think I'd like to share the word faith. I think faith, because when I think about faith, what I want others to know is that those who are in need of resources are available for you within your community, nationwide, but also I want you to know that VineLink is one of those resources, and we want to hear from you. We have our support available for you 24/7. We're here to listen.
Awesome. Thank you. I like that. Faith.
I would say courage. Courage would be mine, because it takes a lot of courage to reach out. It takes a lot of courage to let yourself be vulnerable. And I think that I would push you all. Be courageous. Be courageous. Advocate for yourself. Allow us to put you in the position to advocate for yourself. Let us send you the notifications. Let us send you the information. Let us be a part of your courageous journey. Courage would be my word.
Awesome. So faith and courage. I like that. Thank you so much, Karen and Lacey, for being here today with APRISS Safety, the developers of Vine. Vine is in 48 states. For more information and to sign up for their services, go to vinelink.com. So it's VineLink.com. And if you have any other questions about the show, I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me at anna@standupresources.com. I'm your host, Anna Nassett, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the next week here on the MEND. Be well, be strong. Thank you again, Karen and Lacey, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.